Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Citizen Sleeper 2. We are out on an immediate rescue mission contract. We went to Oliveira, which is kind of the hidden base where Ankita had asked us to go and deliver a package for her. The guy we've got to deliver a package to is on this ship we're rescuing, I think. Quick note that if there's any differences with the die I've rolled here, it's because the autosave didn't kick in when I cancelled it. It took me back to the Hollow before we even travelled to Oliveira, so I had to just click through all that stuff again, and I think it's probably re-rolled those dice, which aren't particularly great, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, you head out into the shoals, the thick debris field that surrounds Oliveira. What's happening in here, Sleeper? Bliss pokes their head into the cockpit as Seraphin brings the ship in towards the signal coordinates Xander gave him. You look around the cockpit. Xander is tapping at the co-pilot console mounted in front of his seat in a haphazard way, while Cadence is asking Seraphin about how the rig works. Surprisingly, Seraphin is responding with patience and care. They'll help us find Carmen. Oh, if you say so. Bliss looks over at Seraphin and Cadence. Is Seraphin smiling? They shake their head. Something's going on. Bliss turns back to you. Junie's working on the ship's wiring and won't respond to my messages. She's probably in the wall somewhere, hooked up to the main line. They smile a weak smile. I'm here, so how about you tell me what we're doing out in the middle of nowhere? Quiet! Seraphin's voice cuts through the chatter. Is that... He gestures out into the debris field at a sparking, ragged-looking shape tucked beside a rock. Xander rushes to the cockpit. Carmen! A moment of tense silence grips the room. That's his ship! You and Bliss exchange concerned glances. This isn't good. I'll bring her in. Seraphin's eyes are fixed on the wreck of the crumpled ship now. We didn't ken anything yet, so everyone calm down. Xander is silent, his face pressed against the glass. Cadence stares out at the wreck, her cheeks pale. No one speaks until the rig is brought to a stop. All right. Now, we're going out there and we'll have a poke around. Seraphin looks between Cadence and Xander. We verify the ship, and we recover the crew. Seraphin gives you and Bliss a nod, and you both push off and glide towards the back of the cockpit. Suddenly Xander pushes off from the window and glides with you, out of the cockpit. I'm coming too. You need someone to identify the ship, to identify... He stops and takes a breath. Are you sure? I'm sure. Xander gets the words out, then pushes on ahead towards the airlock. You follow behind, ready to suit up and investigate the wreck. Alright, so we're going to go straight out to here, it looks like. So we have Xander with us now, who is okay at engineering and endure. We have Bliss with us, engineering and intuit. And ourselves, everything but engage, basically. No one's good at engage, so we hopefully won't run into too many of those checks. Wreck assessment. If you want to have any hope of recovering Carmen and Flint, dead or alive, you'll need to start at the wreck and work your way out. So... yeah, we'll use Xander there. We'll put his 4 in to begin with. Neutral, that's fine. With Bliss, we'll put into reconstruct events. A crippled ship, holes torn in its side, and a missing crew. With some thought and careful assessment, perhaps this wreck tells a story. Okay, so I'm going to put in my 4, which becomes a 6, so that's positive. I'll put my 3 as well. Neutral or positive seems fine. Positive. Now if I push, that will become 3, which will become a 5. So not a guarantee of positive results. I'd rather not accrue the stress. So let's just come out. We're not going to put other dice in right now. Let's go here. We're full on supply, so I won't harvest those mushrooms yet. We'll do it when we, after we've rested. Okay, decent rolls there. We don't need the mushrooms yet, so we'll just, I'll leave that till the end if we've got spare dice. So let's put Blisses into there. Let's put Xander's into here. Positive result gets this finished. Neutral. I'll put in... We only need a neutral, so I'll just put in the 3, because either way that's going to finish this. Okay, continue. The search of Carmen's gutted ship has impacted the mood in the rig. As more and more evidence of an attack has appeared, the quieter Xander has got and the more Cadence has retreated into the bunks. Now, with the search complete, you are gathered in the cockpit to discuss what's been found. Come on! Cadence floats by the door, hugging herself against the cold. Tell us already! Xander is perched on the back of the seats, flicking at some hinged container he found in the wreck. Open and closed. Open and closed. Explain carefully. You start by summarizing the search, talking around the details, picking your language carefully. You describe the damage to the ship, but not the attack. You talk about the occupants of the ship without mentioning what might have happened to them. Seraphin quickly cuts in. What Sleeper is saying, he gives you a look, is that the ship was hit with weapons fire, badly, and then the drive was fired up and they attempted to flee. The drive burnt out in the ship. After hitting multiple rocks and bits of debris came to a halt here. He takes a breath. We have found no bodies. At the mention of that word, bodies, a shudder runs through those assembled. Then they're here, somewhere. Xander has a steely look in his eyes. And we find them, whatever state they're in. He looks at Cadence. She nods back at him. Xander's right, we aren't leaving them out here. Carmen made Oliveira what it is. He's saved us. We won't go back without him. She shivers and looks at Xander. He would do the same for us. Based on the damage to the ship, Seraphin begins. They're almost certainly dead, we get it. Xander cuts him off. But there are debris trails leading away from the ship, I've seen them. There are. Seraphin holds his hands out in a calming manner. But those could be from secondary explosions or depressurization. We picked the wrong trail and it could lead us in circles, cycle after cycle. We'd better pick the right one. Cadence has Xander's steely look now too. She stares directly at Seraphin, challenging him to answer back. He sighs. Yeah, then that's what we'll do. He looks at you with resignation. Whatever happened here, you won't be leaving till you see its end. Okay, so we've got 3 locations to have a search through. So let's look at each of these in turn. So this debris field, we've got endure and interface, so we're okay at those. We've got... I think these are going to be the same, but let's just make sure. It does look like it. Okay. So I know it's not exactly our priority, but I just want to make sure that we're sort of self-sustaining here, which means getting the mushrooms now. There we go. Top up our supplies. Let's start with the top one. So either or here. Explore debris. There's only so much you can see from scans. Sometimes you have to go and explore the debris and pick up the trail from its patterns. Or map the debris. Scanning and mapping from the ship will help you safely figure out where it might lead, but it's painstaking work. Well, it suggests that the danger one may be higher reward on here, possibly? So positive outcome was 3. I'm guessing a positive is probably going to be 2 on here, but as it's a danger, I'm a little worried about what will happen on the neutrals. So let's just do the slightly safer option. There we go. So let's go rest. Terrible rolls. Terrible rolls. But I got 2 on here. What I'm tempted to do is to push that to a 4. So actually, yes, I had +3 to a die. So I'll reclaim the stress on this, but it's using one of my 1s for like that, basically. Let's see. So let's use up their stuff first. So we'll put an endure here. Damn, negative, double stress, okay. Bliss is no good at any of this stuff, unfortunately. I'll put my 5s... Well, it's a little unnecessary because this will fill the clock anyway, but... There we go. So that one's done. This isn't leading us anywhere, Sleeper. Bliss's voice comes over the comms. I'm sorry, but we have to call it. You look out at the scattered debris gleaming in the sunlight. Bliss is right, the trail is going nowhere. If Carmen and Flint did head out from the ship this way, there's no way you'll find them. And if they didn't... There are still more places to look. Bliss interrupts your thoughts. We won't give up on them yet. You think of Xander and Cadence and how they must feel right now. The search must continue. Alright, so let's pop another 6 into the danger one. As long as we can guarantee a positive result, I'll use the danger tiles. There we go. I'm not going to do 1s. Bliss is no good. I'm not going to use Xander's 2. Let's go back. Yeesh. It's even worse. But I'll push again. I'll get a 4. Harvest a mushroom. Get the stress back. I'm not using that 4 on one of these other rolls because it's not a guaranteed success, so I wouldn't necessarily get the stress back otherwise. So, but I can put we'll put that into there. We'll get a positive result. That give us 2 remaining. So I'll put Xander's 5 in there. Positive. There we go. The trail is dead, Sleeper. Seraphin sighs over the comms. It's going nowhere. You have to agree, picking through the debris has been nothing but an exercise in futility, and now, coming to a dead end, you aren't even sure if there's anything to find out here at all. Loop back to one of the other trails, Sleeper. Seraphin pauses. We're gonna keep going. What else can you do? You just hope, for Xander and Cadence's sake, you find something soon. Alright, let's go down here. So I'll pop my 4 into the safe side. It would be very unlucky to get a negative result on this again. So we get the 1 stress, yeah, that's what I figured would happen. But that's okay. We're halfway through the clock. There's no need to rush it, really. We've still got full supplies. So let's rest. Hope for some better rolls. Okay. I'm not and I could use the 1 again to harvest the mushrooms, couldn't I? So let's do that. This mushroom farm has absolutely transformed the contracts. Just being able to be a bit more self-sufficient in terms of how long we take here. It means you take fewer risks because now you've got a bit more time. It's good. I'm not going to use a 3. What do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4. So a couple of safe ones, I think. I'm just going to use. Don't want to use that. It was neutral, but a positive result will finish that, so let's put that there. There we go, so another one done. New location discovered. Asteroid Caves. Okay, so Bliss can actually help here in the intuit checks, so that's good. Tunnel vision. The trail leads to these barren and airless caves. It's hard to imagine someone surviving in here for long. Search the caves. Forget the trail. If the caves are searched comprehensively, then anyone can be found. So that's a danger one. Then we follow the trail, which is also dangerous, actually. But I've got a +2 to these, so the caves are dark and winding, but with a sharp eye, it's possible to spot a glinting shard of debris. This trail must lead somewhere. So let's put Bliss's 6 in first. So we get a +2. It means that we might well get stress on a neutral result, but let's see what happens. Positive. Okay, I'm going to try it again. Yeah, +1 stress, but that's fine. Try not to get any more. We're not going to use his 3s, I don't think, because any more stress and he'll run off and no longer be available. So let's just go rest. I'm going to push my 1 again. Top up supplies, guaranteed well, yeah. I could use that in the case, but let's just stay on top of the supplies. I don't know how many more steps we'll have here. It's possible we're getting to the end of it, but you never know. Bliss rolled high, so we should be okay. I'm going to put Bliss's dice in first, in fact. That's fine. So another 2 positives would do it, so why don't we... Just thinking. I don't really... Well, it'd be best if I don't get stressed, so I'm going to put the 5 there to make a 6. Well, let's just put our 6 in. Let's just make sure of it. When the Starward Trail led to the caves, a little hope was kindled in the hearts of the crew, but after plumbing the depths of these dark passages, that hope seemed snuffed out. Xander has struggled on in silence, only speaking to update Cadence on the lack of news via the cockpit comlink. But he speaks now, quietly at first and then with increasing urgency. "A light, Sleeper, I see a light!" And with that he kicks off hard from the wall and darts down a dark tunnel with reckless speed. You follow, but the tunnels are winding and you quickly lose Xander around a corner. You kick off from the same wall, trying to close the gap, but when you come around that same corner you can't find Xander anywhere. And then you see it. Through a thin slit in the cave wall, a flickering, fading light. You cross over to it and see scratches and chunks scraped out of the rock. Someone has dragged something through here. Let's push through. You push away some of the floating rock and squeeze yourself into the gap. As you do, you watch the light pulsing inside the cave, setting the cracks and shapes of the rock in sharp relief. You search those shadows for something recognizable, but the light source remains out of sight. And then you're through. You steady yourself against the wall and look towards the light. There, beside a fading emergency lamp, floats a body, its head instantly striking you as strange and misshapen. Oh dear. Carmen's body. Is he still alive? You know immediately this must be Carmen. His head is shrouded in an emergency helmet, inflated around him like a balloon, while an oxygen canister floats nearby attached to a tube. His eyes are closed, his body's still. You try to settle your gaze on his chest to see the telltale rise and fall, and then the light catches something else, something broken and skeletal nearby. A face with bright eyes. Bright eyes watching you. Is it another sleeper? Oh, this would be Flint. A sleeper. Another sleeper. They watch you with lit irises, ones just like yours. Their torn face reveals no emotion. They pose, crouched, coiled even, like a spring ready to strike. You are both frozen, unsure, afraid. Nothing moves. Your eyes trace the damage to their suit, to their body. They look broken, worn down, and you wonder if this is how you look to others. If they flinch when they see you, as you feel the need to now. "Carmen!" Xander's panicked voice cuts through the silence. He rushes forward to the floating body, and as he does, the other sleeper pulls away from the wall like a statue coming to life. For a moment, you go to intervene, to save Xander from this skeletal figure. But the sleeper falls on Xander to embrace him, and Xander returns the hug. You float, stunned, watching as Xander begins to carry Carmen's body from the cave with Flint, the sleeper, guiding him. Carmen is stable. Cadence comes out from the room that has become a makeshift medbay. She looks between you and Seraphine. Thanks to you. And Flint? Cadence pauses, choosing her answer carefully. Flint is in there with Carmen. They seem to be functional. She looks away. If that's what you mean? We should head back to Oliveira. Seraphine cuts in. He places a hand on your shoulder and steers you away towards the cockpit. Once you're out of earshot, Seraphine turns to you. Did you ken Flint was a sleeper? No. Seraphine nods. He pauses. I didn't want to be suspicious. I was just surprised, that's all. Seraphine glances back towards the medbay. They look, different. What do you mean? I dinna ken, he sighs. Just something I wish they had mentioned. I'll go get her started up. He pats you on the shoulder and heads to the cockpit. Let's just keep an eye on them, okay? He leaves you floating in the corridor, unsure what to think. Flint is the first sleeper you've met since you escaped the program, and at this point, those memories are little more than fragments and fictions. As the rumble of the drive runs through the ship, you can't help but feel a little concerned for what this might mean. I believe we're done, right? Let's leave. Eugen finds you in a quiet corner of the rig. I want to say something. He's been uncharacteristically quiet since your journey to the Aphelion Path's resting place, and even now there is a serious to him you don't recognize. I need to thank you. His eyes look dark, and it's clear he hasn't been sleeping. I appreciate what you did on that rock. You pulled me back from something I wouldn't have come back from on my own. That drive, that ship, I want to say they possessed me, drove me to it. He looks away. But that would be an excuse. I was the one who chose to pursue them at all costs. He frowns.
The blame lies with me.
You didn't do anything wrong.
Nothing you know about.
He shakes his head.
If you spoke to Lewis, to Vesna?
He trails off.
I know what I did.
He looks down.
That is for me to reckon with. The way you treat me, it makes me believe something.
His brow knits, his own words irritating him.
But I'm not sure what it is. And I'm not much of a believer.
Eugene looks down. You can see he's fighting with himself.
This crew, this ship,
Eugene pauses, choosing his words.
I put it at risk. I won't make that mistake again.
He meets your eye.
That's what I wanted to say.
As Eugene explains, you see a little weight rise off his shoulders. He stands a little taller, some of his swagger returning. You don't know the extent of his past. His actions have only been hinted at. But something in this belief in the future he's just professed endears you to him. He takes a deep breath.
I don't like to owe people.
He pats you on the shoulder.
But for you, I'll make an exception.
With that, he nods and turns away, gliding back through the ship and out of sight. As you watch him go, you think of Vesna, of the singers, of Conway, of everything that swirled around that fraction drive like a storm. There is something dark and dangerous in an object like that, one that subsumes lives into itself. One whose gravitational pull is strong and often terminal. Eugene has, with your help, wrestled himself free of that pull, and you're glad of it. But you both have paid a cost, one that neither of you is likely to forget. Drive failed. What did we fail? Was it just to, was it find the fraction ship? Because well, I suppose we didn't find the fraction ship, did we, I guess, so... Bit of a shame, though. You're left alone with Xander and Seraphine in the docks, while Carmen is carefully carried from the rig by Flint, guided away in one of Oliveira's many tunnels and passages. Okay, I believe you. Xander shrugs his shoulders. Seraphine raises an eyebrow. Believe us how? That you aren't saboteurs. He shoots you a sheepish grin. Although, you never know. I'd forgotten that. I won't remind you then. He winks. Tell me, kid. Seraphine folds his arms. Why are you so protective of this place? I mean, no offence, but who'd want to sabotage a tin pot colony in the middle of the shoals? Xander bristles at the comment, but controls his anger. You don't get it. Oliveira's a refuge. Why do you think we're hiding all the way out here? He glances at you and then back at Seraphine. I'd have thought you'd understand what's at stake here. You've seen Flint. Seraphine pauses, unsure of how to respond. He looks embarrassed into silence. Look, Xander says, playing the peacekeeper. You brought Carmen back to us. Everyone in Oliveira will thank you for that. How about you stick around for a bit, get a feel for the place? If you need to resupply, we can help. We haven't got much, but if you chip in, you'll get your share. He bows his head a little. We're more welcoming than we appear. Just don't expect to buy anything with those chits of yours. Xander puts his hands on his hips. Oliveira's not for sale. Seraphine shrugs. All right, kid, He glances at you. We appreciate it. We'll need to hang around until Carmen's back up and awake anyway, and I think we'll be glad of the rest. I'll see you around then. Xander touches his brow in a salute and then kicks away, floating out of the docks. Seraphine turns to you. A little shore-leave dinner sounds so bad. I agree. Seraphine smiles. All right then. He stretches. I'm going to head into town and see what's happening. He winks and glides away into Oliveira proper. You're left floating in the docks, unsure of what comes next. It doesn't seem like Lane is going to find you out here, so maybe this is the perfect time to take a breather, at least until you can bring Ankita's drive to Carmen. You turn that little thumbnail drive over in your pocket. Time to see what Oliveira has to offer. And here we are. So there's a clinic. We've got how many cycles? We've rising tensions. Carmen is in recovery, and Oliveira will have to navigate a coming crisis without his steady hand. We got another cycle till that's... Oh, okay. As you leave the rig, you find a figure waiting for you in the docking tunnel. You think of Xander's hostile greeting when you first arrived. Is that him again? I had a feeling it might be Flint.
Where are you headed?
Flint leans away from the wall, now out of the battered suit you first saw them in. The damage to their frame is concealed beneath their overalls, but you're still aware of it just beneath the surface. I don't know. How about scrap sorting?
Same.
Flint nods in the direction of the colony. I'll join you. You float together through the docks in silence. Flint makes you nervous, and their insistence on intercepting you this cycle hasn't exactly calmed that sensation. Breaking the silence eventually becomes unavoidable. How did you end up here? Flint stares ahead, continuing their glide.
Same as everyone else on Oliveira. Carmen found me.
The mention of Carmen's name recalls the image of him floating unconscious in the light of your work lamps, in those deep and winding caves. You suppress a shudder. Flint gives you a sideways look, their mask-like face betraying no emotion.
It's good you found us.
They pause as you both move through a doorway.
Could have been sooner.
They blink.
But better than nothing.
Looking at Flint gives you an unsettling feeling, like catching your own reflection in a polished hull plate. Is this what others feel like when they speak with you, watching the crooked mask, the lit irises for signs of human emotion, interpreting the stuttering emulations of facial expressions as they cross your doll-like face? Flint turns away again, and you realize that they might feel the same looking at you. Each the other's mirror, each reminding the other of the gap between being and being seen. How did you escape?
Escape SNARP, you mean?
Flint pauses.
We aren't there yet, friend. We can share war stories another time.
You arrive together in the cavernous hall containing the scrap silos, the cacophonous echoing of sorting already filling the air.
So, sleeper.
Flint's face curls in amusement as he uses the mononym everyone refers to you by.
Oliveira asks all of those it harbors to contribute to the colony. Show me what you can do.
Well, we got a double plus in sort scraps as a guaranteed positive result. You and Flint glide into the sorting bay where scrap from the silos is delivered to the waiting workers, ready to be checked, cleaned, and cast into the different nets at the fringes of space. The fringes of the space. You find a sorting station and begin picking up chunks of ship and machine, turning them over in your hands. As you inspect the scrap, the ghost of their original place in a bigger structure becomes apparent. Each piece suggests a whole: a drive casing, a loading bay, a life support unit. You burn away corrosion with a torch, crack open rusted casings to release the components inside like seeds. You find new life in the broken and discarded pieces. Something makes you look to one side, a glint that catches your eye, and there is Flint, taking a rest of their own. You see a glint again, Flint turning something over in their fingers, watching it spin. A vial of stabilizer.
My last vial.
Flint speaks without taking their eyes off the drug. Even through the haze of your lost memories, you can recall the fizzing, sickening pulse of that injection, the dependence your reboot freed you from.
Saving it for a special occasion.
Flint pockets the vial and meets your eye.
You don't need stabilizer, do you?
Flint moves away from the wall they were resting against.
I noticed you were different from the first moment we met, but I didn't realize what it was until now. The way you work, the way you move, without dependence. I see it now.
Flint folds their arms. Tell them about the reboot. You tell them about the process you and Seraphine attempted on Darkside, the one that Lane interrupted. They listen absent-mindedly, watching the workers instead of you.
That's not all, though, is it?
Flint meets your eye.
There's something wrong with you, more than just your decaying frame. Your signal, your presence, it smells different.
Lane did something to me.
I have come to know that feeling. The feeling that I am an object, a tool to be molded, to be shaped for someone else's use. Here in Oliveira, people are different.
Flint looks out at the workers.
But I still know who I am, what I bring to this place. All of these people are at risk because of me. That means you, too, are a risk. A risk to your crew, to me, and more importantly to this place. That is what is worrying me. Oliveira will welcome you, just as it welcomed me.
Flint stretches.
And it will do so in spite of itself and its own safety. I want you to know that, because they will pay the cost, those close to you, and you must know that they pay it for you.
With that, Flint turns and glides away, leaving no space for a response. You watch them leave, their billowing cloak revealing and concealing the glinting and ragged parts of their exposed skeleton as they go. Alright. It looks like there's going to be something happening in another cycle. It's not going to be Carmen waking up, though, I don't think. So what have we got? The scrap silos. That's where we just were. So, I presume we could do work. There's no particular clock to build towards, though. The farm stacks, much the same. Hydro refinery, much the same. And then the canteen. We might have to eat supplies if it's an engaged check to eat here. Speaking of which, no, we got 5 supplies. That's probably fine. Let's have a look at the scrap silos. So why don't we put in our 4 here and see what we get? We've got some good rolls, so that's nice. Plus a scrap component. Okay, so what about the farm stacks? I suspect it may be energy there. Let's do the hydro refinery first, because this is... oh, that's also going to be a positive. Might get fuel? 3 fuel. There we go, we've topped up on fuel. I think these might be supplies then. So I'm not going to input my other die, because we're full on supplies right now. Although I am going... let's feed our little kitty cat. So let's give them a supply. There we go. So let's try the farm stacks. Like I said, I suspect a positive result here means supplies. Yeah, plus energy, so that's good. But let's just get more scrap then doing this with our remaining dies. Okay. Quite a few of those now. I guess we rest. Good rolls again. The sound of raised voices echoes through the tunnel. Following them, you find yourself at the entrance to the clinic, where Flint and Xander are locked in a bitter argument. I won't take you out there, Flint. Xander is pleading with the sleeper. Look what happened to Carmen, they'll kill you. What happened to Carmen is exactly why I have to go. They will find me here, and when that happens... The whole colony can hear you two. Seraphin comes out of the clinic with cadence. You're trying to wake up Carmen? You see Seraphin clock you standing in the passageway. Your eyes meet and Seraphin looks away. Neither of you have seen each other since you brought Carmen back to Oliveira. I'm trying to make sure what happened to Carmen doesn't happen to anyone else. Flint folds their arms. I'm the reason he is like he is, and that means it's on me to fix it. What are you talking about? You catch Flint off guard. They hadn't seen you waiting in the passageway. S&ARP came for me. That's what happened out in the debris field. They look down. You know what that means. S&ARP, the company that created you. The company you escaped. The idea of them bearing down on this place sets your nerves on edge. You have long since slipped their grasp. Lane disabled your tracker in exchange for unwavering service, a gift that became a trap. But Flint is still on the run, and if S&ARP attacked Carmen's ship, they can't be far away. You look at Flint and see the fear in their eyes. Your tracker is still active. Oliveira is shrouded. Flint looks towards the center of the colony. Carmen managed to get hold of a signal shroud and set it up here. He wanted to keep everyone safe. There's no way S&ARP can track me here. Am I missing something? Seraphin interrupts. If they can't find you here, what's the problem? It's not just about the tracker. That hunter found me in the debris field. They know I escaped. It's only a matter of time before their search brings them here. Silence falls on the group, as the inevitability of the problem sets in. Xander looks distraught. You can't, Flint, Xander says in a quiet voice. They'll kill you. Seraphin glances at you and Flint in turn, and you see his mind working on a solution. He looks away, frowning. I'm sorry, Xander. This is... oh, sorry. I guess this is, Flint. I'm sorry, Xander. This is how it is. Flint looks dejected. Unless we get them first. Seraphin smiles an impish smile. Seraphin, what are you thinking? Cadence speaks up for the first time. Well, we know there's a hunter out there scouring the shoals. And we ken they're looking for you, Flint. Seraphin shrugs. That means that we have the upper hand. We don't need to bring them here. We can bring them anywhere we want. Seraphin looks around the group. So, we get set, we prepare a little surprise, and then we wait. Flint is already shaking their head. The hunter could arrive here at any moment. We don't have time for this. If I had a ship, I would have left already. Then we move you now. We take you somewhere we can prepare, and we work hard and fast to get an ambush set. When the hunter comes, Seraphin grins, we spring the trap. What kind of trap? We still have to figure that out. Seraphin admits, but you have to admit it beats going out to die without a plan. He shoots Flint a look, and hey, if we fail, the outcome will be the same anyway. Flint doesn't respond immediately. You can see them thinking it through, considering their options. I'm coming! Xander has a determined look on his face. We're doing this, and I'm coming! Look, kid, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but this is the real thing. A bounty hunter is nae going to... Stop patronising me! Xander cuts him off. I know the shoals. You need me out there. The conversation suddenly devolves into many small arguments. The location, who should go, how to approach the ambush. The noise grows. The old Solheim manufactory. Cadence's voice rises clear and precise through the noise. That's where you do it. It's a rock far enough away from here, and it's a real labyrinth. You can lead the hunter there and get them lost inside. Cadence's eyes are bright and determined. The place is full of old machines, ordnance. We've been afraid to scavenge any of it. It's so unstable. You notice Seraphine watching Cadence speak, clearly impressed by this sudden shift towards decisive action. We could bring the whole place down on their head. Xander picks up Cadence's thread. I know the manufactory. It's a good idea. You look between those gathered. Seraphine, stubborn and protective. Cadence's sharp eyes. Xander's relentless desire to get involved. And Flint, a sleeper like you. A sleeper in need of an escape. Carmen was building something here. A shrouded haven, a place that needs protecting. He may be unconscious behind those doors, floating amongst the wires and tubes of the clinic. But something of him is here, in this group, making a plan of resistance. Flint's eyes meet yours, and you know what has to be done. The rig will leave Oliveira this cycle. You have a hunter to trap. So we got a new contract. We're full up on supplies and fuel. So that's good. I guess the only thing that really remains for me is to pop these dice into the old check here and get a bunch of scrap. As we're going to re-roll the dice when we go out on the contract anyway. So what scrap am I getting? Oh, these are the scrap components. I thought it was these for some reason. That's raw scrap. We're getting scrap components. Okay. I guess the main worry heading out onto what is potentially a dangerous contract is the almost broken dice here. I think it is possible. I mean, I know I've seen on the Steam forum people saying they've done it, where you, before you go out on a contract, you kind of tank your stress so that all the dice break, and then you fix all the dice, and then you head out on the contract. I don't particularly want to do that. I'd rather just take things as they come in that regard. So let's head out. We've got the old manufactory. Cadence believes this is the place to trap Flint's pursuer. You only have a few cycles to prepare, so the faster you head out, the better. Let's get out there. So anyone locked? No one's locked in. So my two strongest are engineering and intuit, I think, aren't they? So basically, Bliss kind of doubles up on what we're best at. Whereas Cadet actually provides stuff we're not so good at. Maybe we'll take Junie as well, just because of her plus interface. I am aware that we haven't really taken Nia out at all, but that plus intuit, I mean, it just doubles. I get like with Bliss, it just kind of doubles up what I'm good at. Whereas we're trying to sort of cover up shortfalls a little bit. I mean, there's the endure thing, but I'm as good at endure as I am at interface. So, let's do that. Corroded plates, twisted struts, scattered scrap. The manufactory makes for a familiar sight, just one more ragged artifact from the corporation that once owned this system. Despite that, something about it sets you on edge, perhaps because it will also form the crucible for your attempt to take on an Essen ARP hunter, the kind whose entire job is to bring in escaped sleepers like you, dead or alive. The rig is tucked behind a rock, running on low power with its transponder off. You hope that's enough not to draw attention. So, talk us through it. Seraphine turns back to Flint, Cadence and Xander, all of whom are crammed into the cockpit along with your crew. We have to make this place look like a colony. That's what the hunter will expect. Cadence suggests first, her voice quavering a little with anxiety. We can seal up some of the holes, maybe install some lighting, fake it up. Okay, Seraphine nods reassuringly. That's good. What then? We force them to go deep. Xander cuts in and everyone looks at him. He pauses, a little intimidated by the attention, but Flint nods at him to continue. I've been out here before on a salvage run. There's an assembly line that runs through the whole place, filled with old manufacturing machines. We seal doors, activate machines, make it a maze of malfunctioning construction arms and dead ends. All right then, control their route, I like it. Seraphine smiles at Xander. And if we get lucky, maybe one of those old machines will do the job for us.
I doubt it. Flint joins in. We'll need the ordnance from the silos, mining charges, fuel, whatever is left from when this place was churning out Solheim goods. They furrow their brow. We blow the place to make sure. A silence passes through the cockpit, the danger of what you're about to attempt dawning on everyone present.
Okay.
Seraphine has a dark look.
That's the plan. We can detonate the ordnance with a command from the rig. Simple wideband comm signal. We'll get them.
Seraphine pats Flint on the shoulder.
Once they go in, that hunter ain't coming back out.
He turns to you.
Anything we missed?
What if they don't take the bait? Then I engage. Flint rubs their hands together nervously. I lead them in directly, right?
Right,
Seraphine confirms grimly.
How long do you think we have? There's a lot of factory down there.
The hunter got to me and Carmen fast. Flint looks out of the cockpit. No more than 3 cycles. When the hunter came for us. Flint grimaces, remembering the attack on Carmen's ship. They came out of nowhere, hit us hard and fast. If it wasn't for Carmen. We need to be ready for anything. Flint looks at you. There won't be a warning. Seraphine sighs.
Yeah, nice pep talk. Flint, you better find somewhere deep in that place down in the bedrock, but make sure it has a back door, okay?
He nods at the sleeper.
The rest of us will get to work. Alright, you heard Flint. We do this and we do it right. Let's make our stand on this rock. Let's not waste a moment more. Alright, so we've got some stuff we need to do. This is our clock for the guy arriving. 3 cycles. Luckily we've rolled really high here. So storage silos. We're the only one who can really put in here. So we'll bear that in mind. The assembly line. So Cadet and Junior are actually okay here. And then we've got the factory exterior, which they're both useless at as well. So those will be my areas, so that's fine. Why don't we see what they can do here first? So if we put in Junie's die into hack machines. So to trap the hunter, you'll need to prepare to reactivate the machines and seal the doors once they're inside. One way to drive the hunter deeper into the factory will be to activate the old factory machines, closing off routes and presenting a deadly threat. So let's use Junie there. So that's going to be a guaranteed positive. Okay, I'll put the 4 in as well. It's not ideal. Neutral, so yeah. Well, Cadet can take a bit of stress, but she did get 2 segments done, so that's okay. I'm going to have to spread my efforts a little bit further. Let's have a look at here. Is there anything we can do to kind of put them off, or is that just a ticking clock? It's just a ticking clock. So let's start here. I'll put my 4 into the +2. So we're gathering ordnance at the moment. This is to blow up the site. And I'll just see what goes there. So the last one was 2. This one's probably 2 as well on a positive. Yeah. Prime the explosives. Gathering more ordnance. So we're almost done with this. That was a good roll. We might not be so fortunate again. But we better go rest. Yeah, these guys can't really do that harvesting, but that's fine. It's not really supplies that are going to limit our speed here, is it? So, main thing is we need to roll high. And we didn't roll particularly high, but, you know, we'll make it work. So, let's pop in my 4. Yeah, positive. So this one's finished now. There we go. We've done with the ordnance. Factory rig to blow. Go easy with that. Flint's voice rumbles over local comms as you secure the final piece of ordnance. You turn to see them floating, backlit in the entrance to the bay, one of many that you've rigged with ordnance deep in the manufactory. Down here, dust and flecks of rust float through the beams of your lights, and the walls are bent and buckled. They spent the past cycles here picking out a spot to draw the hunter down to, one they should be able to slip out of when the hunter finds their way in. It's a long time to be down in these dark tunnels waiting. Looks like we are just about done. Their voice is flat, their tone pragmatic. You okay? Flint nods, eager to be done with this. They look over their shoulder, however it plays out. Flint glides into the bay slowly. There's something I need to tell you, something I think you'll understand. What we are doing out here is not about saving me, it's about Oliveira.
You struggle to see Flint's face with the light behind them. I should be on a ship out of there, leading this hunter away, but they won't let me do that. They shake their head in frustration, and even if they would, they can't spare the ship, not after Carmen's got shot up. That was my mistake. I never should have let him persuade me to come with him on that supply run. Flint looks down. What's done is done. What matters now, what I need from you, is a promise. Flint's bright irises flash, that you'll bring this place down with me in it, if it means stopping the hunter. I won't do that. You will. Flint drifts a little closer. You know as well as I that those who get close to us are at risk, that we as sleepers have to recognize what we open the door to. Carmen is my fault. I won't be Oliveira's downfall too. With that, they turn and leave you in the dark. I'll see if we can get away with not doing that. Now, Junie unfortunately rolled really low, so maybe we won't be... Let's not worry about them right now. Let's put my stuff in here. So, what we're doing, so we're making it look like a used facility, a colony, basically, aren't we? So let's do this. Do that. Hope for a positive on this one. Neutral. Didn't take stress though, so that's good. Let's push. We'll get that stress back on this because of getting a positive result. There we go. Okay, so we're working away on this one. Those guys can't do that. The only thing I might do here is put in the 3 there. I won't put in the 2. Neutral. She got stressed. I think that's fine. I mean, Junie's will become a 3 here. Let's roll the dice on that as well and hope for neutral or positive. Positive. Okay, that was worth taking the risk then. So I'm not going to push it any further on them, but we're in pretty good shape, I think, to get this finished off before the hunter arrives. Let's go back here. What I might do is just risk a 2 there. Kind of means that we probably won't get supplies, but we might do. Yeah, we didn't. Okay, let's rest up. Ooh, nice. Oh, very nice rolls. This should be fine. So let's go here. Let's get Cadet going on the one she can do. Might even fill up the clock, depending. That's a positive. Another positive would do it. Nice. Okay, done. You float for a moment, observing the chaos of the old assembly line. The scale of the structure, the number of machines, the arms and fabricators, the welders and bolters, suggesting industry on a scale you've never before witnessed. The Helion system, a system that now subsists on the leftovers of its failed corporate owners, was once filled with manufactories like this, churning out components and technologies, machines and resources for extracting the valuable materials and minerals that Solheim existed to amass. If someone was able to rebuild one of these places, put it back into operation, imagine what could be fed into the belt, what changes could come for its people. Yet no one will undertake such a task because this place is haunted by the spectre of Solheim, an entity that every being in this system can trace their origins back to, an entity that turned the entire system into a manufactory, a machine for accumulation, and that did not distinguish between human and machines as it did. You look at the broken machines, worn down and rusted, crippled and bent. Some of them have been put back into use this past cycle as part of your plan, and those jerk or turn randomly, blindly groping for components that will never be fed to them. None of them are sentient machines like you, so they cannot feel or think. And yet you cannot decide if for them to persist is a kind of cruelty that radiates from the system that created them, or the indication of a new life, one that grants them new function, new meaning, and the possibility of something more. Creepy, right? Xander floats beside you, his voice hissing through the close-range comms. Maybe the hunter will get spooked by those twitching arms. He imitates the scattered movements of the factory machines. More sad than creepy. Xander shrugs. Well, if you say so. So? Xander gives you a look. How come this hunter isn't chasing you? My tracker's deactivated. Huh? Xander shoots you a look. Lucky you, who did that? Nah, it doesn't matter. Maybe not to you, but it could change everything for Flint. I can't deactivate Flints. Sure. Xander looks down. But you know, maybe once we're done here... He meets your eye. They need your help. Xander looks out at the assembly line and sighs. I like Flint. I'm happy to do this for them.
He turns back to you. And I want to like you too. So don't mess this up, alright? Xander gives you a hard look. Don't let Flint down. Xander kicks off and glides towards the exit without waiting for a response. You watch him go for a moment before turning away. There's still so much to do. There is, but we should be able to do it. So let's start off with my 4 in there. Good. Now all of these are guaranteed positives, so I think we'll put them into the danger. As a positive might be a 3. It's a 2. Okay. Save one of my 6s. We'll get this finished off now. You know, Cadence's voice comes over the comms, shimmering with interference. From here it doesn't look half bad. You look across the shell of the manufactory, now studded with lights and dotted with markings, the fresh welds and plates giving the whole place a fragile patchwork feeling. If I was a piece of shit hunter, this is what I'd think is a normal person's settlement, right? Well, I better hope so. Cadence goes quiet for a moment, her attempt at humour only serving to remind you both of the desperate circumstances. Have you spoken to Flint? Cadence pauses. I mean, really spoken? Not really. Oh. Cadence searches for a response. Flint is very loyal. I know they're quiet and, well, intense, but... She sighs. I just hope you two can find some common ground. Well, we get on just fine, honestly. Of course, sorry. Cadence stops again. Oliver is a refuge. Cadence takes a breath. For all of us. I was in trouble when I met Carmen. We all were, in one way or another. Seraphine's told me a lot about you. Cadence hesitates. And I can see what you're trying to do for Flint, for Olivera. Let her finish. I appreciate it, and I know Xander does, and Carmen will do as well, and Flint... Cadence pauses. Well, you'll see. The comms click off, returning you to the silence of the manufactory. You look out across the false colony at the glittering lights. They are a poor imitation of Olivera's real lights, those that indicate the colony's fragile, delicate state. You shake it off and move on. This isn't over yet. But I don't think there's a lot for us to do now, apart from... Well, I'll harvest a mushroom with my 6, because I may as well, right? But beyond that, I think all it remains is to end the cycle. Get this thing started. Wake up, sleeper! Seraphine is in the bunks. We've got incoming. You shake off the haze of forgotten dreams and get up. In moments, you're in the cockpit. Xander, Cadence, and Seraphine all gathered around the console. On it, the local view shows nothing, not a single ship signal, and few objects beyond a scattering of debris. It was right here, I swear. Seraphine stabs at the screen. A ship. Small, but definitely a ship. Seraphine, Cadence sighs. We've all been up a while. Get some rest. I know what I saw. He catches her eye. You look at the screen, its gridded view showing the scattered signature of debris, like schools of fish drifting in a soft current. The manufactory is a noisy blob at the centre of the circle, one that dissolves into the background at its edges. Nothing. And then there it is, a flicker, a flash, a spark of movement and light among one of the debris clouds. It flares and then is gone again. You look up and Seraphine meets your eye. He reads your expression immediately. Seraphine slams a hand down on the console, opening up the comms channel. Look alive, Flint, they're coming in. Go deep and be ready to run. He pulls his hand off the switch. We better hope they heard that. Then you see it through the cockpit glass, the flare of an engine, faint and masked, but driving a squat, dark ship out of the debris. The Hunter. The ship seems to idle a little near the manufactory's asteroid, drifting past the dressed-up shell of the old facility. Time to see if our fake colony is convincing enough. Cadence nervously clasps her hands together. Will they buy it? Aye, they better. Seraphine looks concerned. Because if they think this place looks abandoned, the Hunter might just strafe the whole facility. Seraphine swallows hard. We need them to dock, to go inside. You look out at the ship, and as you do, it jumps forward towards the docking tower. You watch for a few tense moments as it hesitates, and then slides into position onto one of the docking bridges. Cadence sighs in relief. They went for it. Seraphine pats you on the shoulder. Yeah, good job. The rat is in the maze. We can track them now. He exhales. At least that's the theory. I hooked up some basic monitoring devices in the assembly line. Xander calls over from another console. A few shitty cameras repurposed from the factory monitoring systems. Not much, but hopefully enough to tell where they're at. Cadence, Seraphine and you crowd around the screen. Xander flicks between noisy black and white images and feeds of static. You squint into the fizzing dark, trying to pick out any detail. Then, suddenly, you see them. Hunter. He looks like it's a sleeper, isn't it? A shadow drifting beneath a flickering light. Dark clad in military gear, a long gun held ready at their shoulder. Deathly pale skin, and in their eyes, gleaming through the faceplate, glowing irises. Who the hell is that? Seraphine pulls back from the screen. They look like... a sleeper. Xander finishes Seraphine's sentence. The figure disappears outside the margins of the frame, and Xander flicks through the feeds. Xander, where did they go? You drift back from the screen, trying to think straight. The hunter is a sleeper or... something else. You replay the image of the figure in your mind, but it has already shifted in your memory. It is your face staring back. It is Flint's. It is the sleeper's mask of death. Sleeper. Seraphine grabs you by both shoulders and looks you in the eye. We need to focus. We should get down there. Xander's eyes are wide. This changes things. Does it? I mean, we could. Xander's right. Let's go and help Flint. Xander nods to you and then is gone, kicking hard off the cockpit wall and heading into the ship towards the airlock. Seraphine gives you a hard look. You better hope nothing happens to that kid. He shuts off the console. Let's get after him. Go. Cadence looks between you and Seraphine with a steely expression. I'll stay here. She glances nervously at the console. Give me the signal and I'll send the detonation signal. She swallows hard. If it works. Seraphine looks torn for a moment and then nods. Hey, let's go. You rush down to the airlock and suit up, and then you're out, descending through the rock-strewn void in tense silence. You enter the manufactory through a gap in the frame, passing through layers of twisted facility into the deep parts where you know Flint waits in the dark. You say nothing to each other, afraid the comms will be intercepted. You lead Seraphine on, seeking the deep bays under the silos, where the ordnance waits for its detonation signal. If you can grab Xander, grab Flint, and then clear the facility, this can all still work. Seraphine's hand falls on your shoulder, pulling you back. You go to speak and then see it, a torch beam lancing through the dark. A shadow drifting beneath a flickering light, dark clad in military gear, a long gun held ready at their shoulder, deathly pale skin, and in their eyes, gleaming through their faceplate, glowing irises. The hunter, with eyes like you, like Flint. The hunter is a sleeper. Below you, they push through the dark and broken layers of the facility, seeking Flint. Where is Xander? Seraphine and you exchange wide-eyed glances in silence. The hunter passes below, disappearing into a dark passage. You wait together, the moment stretching out, and then descend down into that same passage. The silence is absolute. Suddenly there is a flash of light ahead, bright and forceful, and a rumble that shakes rust flakes from the walls. You and Seraphine push off hard, gliding into the dark, desperate and afraid. You come into a low bay scattered with glowing embers. Scorched holes in the walls spew drops of red-hot metal where a weapon has been discharged. The hunter floats at the center, taking aim again, and you see a flicker of movement on the far side, Flint retreating. Okay, we have an intuit check, luckily. Before you can act, a slight figure in a suit slams into the back of the hunter, Xander. As he hits, the hunter's gun spins out of their hand. Grab the gun. Positive outcome. You kick off away from Xander and the hunter as they grapple, spinning in the dark towards a deep shaft at the far side of the bay. You spot the shape of the long gun as it spins ahead of you. As you reach it, your hand locking around the sculpted grip, you spin and raise it. You take a moment to steady your aim. The scorching shot grazes the side of the hunter's suit in a flurry of sparks. They're thrown away from Xander, unable to find anything to slow their glide. The hunter disappears into the dark of the shaft, leaving a trail of embers in the dark. You see fear in Xander's eyes as they turn back to you. The muzzle of the gun smokes, glowing red. It is spent. I've got Flint, Seraphine calls over local comms. We ascend now. You look across to the two of them, kicking off from the floor of the bay towards a ragged hole in the ceiling. You and Xander exchange a single glance and then follow. Cadence! Seraphine is on the wideband. Detonate this place now! Send the command! There is silence. You ascend through it, through layers of the manufactory, seeking the open void of space beyond. You clear the manufactory, gliding into open space. A silent shockwave like a gust of wind runs through the void. The silent rumble spits out a scatter of debris. You turn back, still gliding towards the ship, and see the shattered manufactory. Whole sections are bending outward, the framework shredded, plating tumbling away in shards. You look across at Seraphine and Flint, their eyes set on the ship, trying only to stay ahead of the debris. You do the same, fixing your attention on the rig and nothing else. The hunter is dead. Well, we'll grab a supply, because why not, right? But I don't think there's anything for us to do here now, so I think we just leave, yeah? Contract concluded. Let's go. You limp back to Oliveira, the mood in the rig one of deep exhaustion. But as the colony appears, visible from the cockpit, the satisfaction of having run a terrifying gauntlet and come back in one piece shifts the mood. The crew's improved mood only becomes more obvious as you draw closer to Oliveira. As you come into dock with the colony, you feel a wave of relief. Seraphine pats you on the shoulder as you both wait for the airlock to open. That hunter, he sighs. SNARP is crueler than I could have imagined. What matters is that we dealt with them. Seraphine nods. Aye, we certainly did. The airlock hisses open, revealing the docking bridge where Xander first confronted you. This time, another, more substantial figure waits in the passage. Ah, it's Carmen. I hear you're the ones I should be thanking for saving my life. Carmen leans against the side of the tunnel, one arm clamped against his waist. So, thank you. He nods at the two of you. Happy to help? Carmen smiles. I have a feeling there might be more to your arrival than just a friendly traveler offering a helping hand. Carmen! Cadence rushes past the two of you, gliding into Carmen with an embrace strong enough to leave the injured man off balance. All right, careful. You don't want to put me back in the medbay now, do you? Carmen pushes Cadence back with a gentle grip on her shoulders. He flinches as he does, his joke clearly holding some truth. Sorry, Cadence smiles. Just glad to see you up. A frown crosses Carmen's face. Where's Xander? You losing your vision, old man? You look back to see Xander and Flint behind you in the tunnel. Xander smiles widely at Carmen, betraying his happiness to see him. I'll be just fine, Xan. Carmen's words are confident, but his tone suggests he isn't convinced. You notice his hands are tightly balled into fists as if resisting pain, and wonder if he really should be up at all. Carmen turns to look at you and Seraphine. I think we need to talk. How about that you two and Flint accompany me to the medbay? Carmen winks. Flint pushes past you both and goes to Carmen, helping him out of the tunnel. As he does, they exchange a few words, but you're too far away to make them out. You and Seraphine exchange glances and follow behind them into Oliveira. Carmen leads you to a small recovery chamber in the medbay where his bed is set up. A handful of tubes and wires float gently beside it, attached to boxy devices. Flint has already left the group, leaving just you and Seraphine with Oliveira's injured founder. Carmen meets your eye with a hard look. So, how did you two end up stumbling onto our colony out in the shoals? He raises an eyebrow. Because we're not usually open to visitors. Ankita sent us to you. You see the flicker of recognition in Carmen's eyes when you mention Ankita. You produce the thumbnail drive, holding it out for Carmen to inspect. She told Sleeper to deliver this to you, and you alone. Seraphine folds his arms. Carmen pauses thoughtfully. That's a name I've not heard for a while. He takes the drive. It seems I should thank you again. He sighs. And perhaps I owe you some explanation myself. Ankita and I used to work together a lifetime ago. Carmen shakes his head. We went our separate ways, but then she turned back up in Oliveira. I established this colony as a refuge, a way of starting again. Carmen clasps his hands together. The belt is changing, and I'm afraid of what it is becoming. Ankita took refuge here for a short while, and then one cycle she was gone. Carmen shrugs. That's not unusual for her. Each of us has our own demons. He holds up the drive. I'll take a look at what's on here when I'm able. He looks at the drive with concern, and I'll let you know what I find. You and Seraphine thank him and leave the chamber as he settles back on his recovery bed. As you leave, Flint catches your attention. Can we speak? Seraphine pauses. I'll catch you back on the rig. He looks between the two of you, then glides away. Flint hovers, a look of concern on his mask-like face. What do you need? Flint gives you a curious look. You don't remember any of it, do you? Any of what? Of how you got here, of your history. Flint screws up their face in a pained expression. At first I thought you were hiding something, or you were intentionally avoiding the subject, so I waited. But I understand it now. You don't remember me at all. You take a moment to think, try to recall Flint. You furrow your brow in frustration, sifting through hazy memories of Darkside, and further back of your arrival to the belt. You close your eyes and see the faces of other sleepers, panicked, desperate in darkness. I don't remember. We worked together in the same Essenab mining installation, along with the other sleepers. He searches your eyes for a spark of recognition. We weren't close. I'm not sure we really spoke. Very few of us did. But I was there when we planned to escape together. The run to the freighter, collapsing the mine shaft. Flint stops, struggling to continue in the face of the blank look you're giving them. You feel an unpleasant itch, as if something is crawling around inside your skull. You can see that Flint wants you to recall them, to recall the escape, the installation, but you find only hazy sensations, and beneath them, pain. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. Flint looks down. I know you can't help it. I just needed to say something, to know if you really don't remember. Thank you for everything you've done for me and for Oliveira. Flint turns and drifts away dejectedly, unable to continue. As you watch Flint go, you scratch at the side of your head, trying to find something in the way they move, the way they speak, their mask-like face. A face that was identical to yours when it was first cast, but that, after cycle of wear and damage, has been transformed. Two machines so close in form and function, estranged by experience. There we go. Okay, so we've got another ticking clock here at the Oliveira Clinic. So this is probably Carmen analysing the thumb drive. That's fine. So we'll probably put our dice into getting some scrap together, maybe top up our fuel and supplies. But we'll get into that next time. Let's take a quick look at our drives that are remaining, actually. We got 2 points. I'm not going to spend those. I think when we get the opportunity again, what I'm going to do, because we don't have any crewmates who have like any pluses in endure, I think what I'll do is I'm going to upgrade my endure, so we've got that covered. And I'm assuming that once we've got through another cycle, this is going to happen, and hopefully we get another bunch of points to upgrade with, but I hope that'll come next time. So I'll just say thanks very much for watching this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, if you can hit that like button, that'd be amazing. Leave a comment as well. Let me know what you think about the story, the series, the characters, the mechanics, the gameplay elements, anything you like, really. It's just always great to read your thoughts. And if you're watching this and not yet subscribed, if you could do that as well, that'd be amazing. So thanks very much, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.